Greetings to all. This was sent to me this week. And to be honest, I didn't know what to do with it. Not because it's anything un-logotherapy, but we continue to talk about suffering. Dostoevsky lived in extreme poverty for most of his life. He suffered from epilepsy, and in fact, it was one of his epileptic seizures that brought on his wife's birth of their child and left him unable to go and get further assistance for her for some time. He blamed that for the fact that they lost that child after 3 months. So he wrote many novels, and he wrote to make the case against nihilism, the idea there's no meaning in this life, and materialism, what he saw around him as people who simply wanted things rather than reality. In that way, he expressed his own suffering because he went through years of epilepsy and poverty and the demons that were part of his life. His writing will live, if not forever, certainly for a long time, because his expression of the reality of what it means to be human and the critique of the society in which he lived are his legacy. So where does that leave us? I often talk with clients who blame their parents, my mother, my father, a terrible childhood. And in that case, I would ask them sometimes, I wonder what were the demons that they struggled with? What were their life struggles? Because if, as a child and as an adult, I can begin to understand their struggles, then I can begin to make meaning of my own suffering and, in fact, to be worthy of it, because now I'm looking outside of myself. I'm looking at something bigger than myself. And that helps with the suffering. So I'm sorry to continue talking about suffering in logotherapy. Next time I will talk about something positive. And yet, on the other hand, logotherapy is positive in the fact that it does open a window for us and allow us to make sense of suffering, guilt, and death, the unavoidable parts of this life. And in that way, it becomes a positive approach, simply because it allows us to make sense of what much of life is about: suffering, guilt, and death. And we have to be worthy of it. Thank you for listening.